This is the oral history interview of Robert Ha, recorded on January 24th, 2025, at the Edmonds Historical Museum in Edmonds, Washington. This interview is being conducted by Orioka and Larry Fuell for the Edmonds Historical Museum's Oral History Collection. So please tell me your name and date of birth.
Okay, my name is Robert Ha. I was born on November 23rd, 1958 in Vietnam.
Tell me more about growing up in Vietnam.
Well, growing up in Vietnam as a Chinese kid is quite interesting because I have to adapt to the local culture and the language. Well, even though I went to Chinese school, but I still have to learn Vietnamese and learn French. And the good thing about Vietnamese culture is very close to the Chinese culture. We celebrate the same type of holiday, Lunar New Year, the Mid-Autumn Festival, and all other important cultural events as well.
How did your family end up in Vietnam?
Well, my dad was born and raised in Hong Kong under the British. Somehow he has a passion in the French language. So he went to French school with his friend. And then three of them, we call it the trio, the Three Musketeers, they decided to go to a French colony and make their first pot of gold. So they choose Vietnam, which is quite developed, under the French, era. And so they were able to use their language. And as you know, language is part of the communication. If you know the language, communication is very important. It comes to business and how to blend into the local culture. So.
What are your most distinctive memories as a child growing up in Vietnam?
Vietnam only have two seasons, a dry season and monsoon season. The monsoon season, a lot of time the Mekong River flooded a little bit. So there was still some issue about rainy season, either no rain or too much rain. Other than that, Vietnam it is very comfortable, and thanks to my dad, growing up, not to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. But of course, back then there was no Toys R Us. We make our own toy. It's fun. We make our own kite, make our own lantern. A lot of things is all DIY. It's really fun.
So why did your family leave Vietnam and come to the United States?
Well, I didn't come to the United States straight from Vietnam. We moved from Vietnam to Laos, another French colony, and I spent another 3 years there. And then my dad sent me to boarding school in Taiwan for another 3 years. So after I finished high school in Taiwan, and my parents came here as a refugee in 1975. And then they sponsored me because I was under 18, still somewhat not quite independent. So then I came here as age 17 to United States 1976 as a teenager.
And you came to the Shoreline area, is that correct? Tell me what it was like being a teenager in Shoreline at that time.
Oh, when I first came here, that was during summer. Of course, Seattle is one of the most beautiful summertime. And it's great and not too hot compared to the humidity back in Asia. And it's great and see all these new faces, The kids are same age as me, bigger, taller, stronger. I was looking at them. And of course I went to high school where Shoreline back there was no Asian. Me and my brother and a Vietnamese guy and a Filipino, we were the only 4 Asian for the whole high school. And then of course, our peers or classmates look at us, they kind of, well, where are these people? Where are they from? So out of curiosity, of course, some of them approach us and we talk and we become friends. Some of them maybe not so friendly, and they maybe find a different way, try to figure out, they bully us, once in a while. But after we get into some confrontation and we are trying our best to be friendly with them, and they find out, hey, we are nice people too, right? We just look different. We might not, well, of course we share the same language now since we're here. So after a while, we become good friends, and I even ran into them like 40 years high school reunion. And the only difference is their size changed dramatically, and our size don't change as much. So that was the amazing part.
What surprised you about life in the United States when you first moved out here?
The Eastern culture and the Western culture are different when it comes to uh, uh, like personal or family or community. See, for us Chinese or most of Asian, not only that we honor ourselves by doing the right thing, we honor our parent, our last name, our community as well. See, the Western culture are more individualism. Everything you do is about yourself after you turn 18, right? And nothing to do with your family. Maybe not, you don't carry on maybe your last name or the community, right? I see more and more the younger generation these days, versus the older generation. I mean, what you do not only honor yourself, but you honor your family, you honor your last name. And that's very important. To me, it's very important. What I do, even though I'm Robert, but it shows up as Robert Ha, my last name. So whatever I do is the Ha's family and the Ha community, right? So it's very important that, you have to show not only respect to yourself, respect to your family, but respect to your community as well.
That makes me wonder about, for your larger family, what was the experience like for your parents coming out here? What kind of experience did the adults in your family have coming to the U.S.?
Well, I have two younger brothers and a baby sister, so four of us, sibling, my parent and my grandmother. So 7 of us. We first came here, my dad had a 4-door sedan, and after I migrated from Taiwan as well, so they bought a station wagon. So 7 of us can load up in the wagon. 2 in front, 3 in the back, and 2 in the trunk. Back then, there's no seatbelt rule. So, as you know, Shoreline has no downtown, no movie theater, so we have to come to Edmonds to see movie, to go to the pier, to do fishing, crabbing, and every time we go out, all 7 of us are loaded up in one car. And it was our family. Whatever we do, wherever we go, it's our family. We all go together and go out, have fun together, and enjoy each other. I think it's very close and also very loving and care for each other. And I think it's very important. You have to care for your family before you care for your community, before you carry on. I think it's very important.
What other things do you remember about growing up in Edmonds? You mentioned that you would come to Edmonds frequently. Are there things that you remember or things that you've noticed have changed over the years that you've observed?
Well, the whole area hasn't changed that much. And people are still very nice, very, I wouldn't call it old-fashioned, but still very tradition here, people in Edmonds. And the only difference is I remember used to have a great French restaurant. And the restaurant is no longer here. I miss the French food from coming, out from Vietnam and Laos. So our family enjoy a lot of French food, and the movie theater, and we take the ferry to different places, and crabbing, fishing at the pier, and some of the pier has changed, obviously, and walking along the downtown area, and overall, it hasn't changed as much. And people are still friendly. I enjoy small town, like Shoreline and Edmonds, and it has a different feel for it.
Tell us about your journey as an adult after high school, and particularly, how did you get to running the Asian Service Center?
Well, after high school, I went to UW, where tuition was still very, very affordable back there. I was able to apply financial aid because I was 18 already after I graduated from high school. So, and I was able to get the financial pay for my tuition, part of my books. So I finished UW, and then during that time, there's a lot of refugee coming in from Southeast Asia. As a matter of fact, my mother was a case worker for War Relief. It's one of the big organizations that sponsor refugee. So from time to time, helping my mom to do translation, interpretation with the new immigrant, new refugee. So during that time, they had job opening at the school, Seattle School District, and it's called Bilingual Orientation Center. So for those new arrival refugee, mainly elementary level to high school level kids, we put them in an orientation center. We teach them the language, and of course also the culture. So then give them opportunity to learn the language, to learn the Western culture, about 1/4 or 2/4, and then we place them in the proper high school or middle school or junior high or elementary school. So they have a job opening. They're looking for people who speak like Chinese, Vietnamese, Lao, Thai, and Cambodia. 5 different languages. And I went for interview, and I told them I can speak 4 of them out of the 5. So obviously I was hired. So I taught mathematics, I've taught some ESL for Seattle School District for 7 years. Actually, my goal was to become an engineer, working for Boeing. But somehow I had a passion in helping the immigrant. Myself was an immigrant refugee, so I had a hard time, how to blend into the system. But because of my language ability, I have a little easier time than other people with the language skill that I have. So can you imagine other people who doesn't have, that much language skill as I have? So I had a passion that I should help them. So that's why I switched gear, become a teacher instead of an engineer.
Are there some stories from those early years that really moved you? I'm curious what kinds of situations you saw people in, and I'm also curious where people were coming from through kind of the different waves as you've been working with immigrant groups. What were the different waves of immigration, and are there any particular stories that impacted you to go into this as your career?
Well, I remember when I first started with the elementary kids, and I remember King Phi or Combo 4 was interviewing our orientation center, and the elementary kid, as soon as they see the camera comes in, they all freaked out and went underneath the table. And later I found out why. In the old days, the camera has a long microphone that pointing out, so they thought there was a machine gun. From kids that are growing up in Southeast Asia, like Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam. So they all freaked out, they went underneath the table. And I had to explain to them, say, okay, that is not a machine gun, that's not like a bazooka or something. It is a microphone. It is an instrument, things that record your sounds and things. So can you imagine the kind of trauma that they had, when they are growing up? I was growing up in Vietnam, hearing the bomb, and, day and night, and we have curfew period and all kinds of stuff. But then, and somehow I got over it, luckily. But there are, many of the younger ones that still under this war zone, bombing, all those things. So I really have a heart I felt for them, and then so I want to really help them ease their pain and how to blend into the Western culture, and of course, to be able to help their family as well. A lot of them, the kids are able to go to school here and learn the language. As a kid, it's easier to learn, but a lot of the parent doesn't still, cannot pick up the language, cannot blend into the culture. And the kids bring their homework home, parent can't help them. They can't even read. The kids are able to read, some of them, So that's the difficulty. The parents are really struggling. They don't know how to help their kid. So that's why I think educating the parent at the same time educating the kid is very important. We call it both-way traffic. It does help each other.
So could you tell a little bit about the work that the Asian Service Center does?
Well, then after teaching, my family got into travel business, and also we were able to help them to organize the travel plan, then go back to Southeast Asia, visit their family. And then about 2.5 years ago, uh, well, actually, before COVID, the Chinese Information Center from Seattle, King County, they were trying to open up a branch office here to help the Asian in the Snohomish County. But then they say they have lack of funding, they have lack of staff, so they pull out and they went to Bellevue instead. So I was talking to Will Chen, one of the Edmonds City Council, and Carl Zapora, and we say, hey, why don't we form our own Asian Service Center in the Snohomish County so we can help the Asian, the new arrival, or the old, that moved from Seattle toward the North End area. So we help them. They don't have to drive all the way to Seattle to get help. So we had this vision 2.5 years ago. They said, okay, let's form an Asian Service Center. So here we are, two years from now. We're still very new, and but I think it's great to be able to help the new or the old immigrant that are resided in the Snohomish County, and it's expanding as well. More and more moving out from Seattle to the North End because cost of living and all this, or other issues.
What kinds of services do you provide?
So we can provide the language. We can help them with. Also, we can refer to them, like for people who need maybe Social Security, medical, Medicare when they retire. So we can refer them to different agency. And when people need to file their taxes upcoming in April, we can refer them to AARP that can help some of the senior how to do their taxes and maybe how to help them with the property tax as well. There's some area you can claim, and I think most important is a language barrier and their cultural barrier. I think as long as once they get into this area, if they're comfortable, they can settle in. I think the rest comes, naturally. But the main thing is the language and the culture. I think those two are the main thing.
Where are people that you're working with coming from? Like, what patterns have you seen? Like, who's living in this area, and how has that changed over the years since you've been here?
Now there's more Asian population in Linwood now. Yeah, compared to Edmonds. Yeah, and Shoreline area. So right now most of our clients are from Linwood, Shoreline, and Everett. That's a big Asian group because of Boeing. Yeah. So, but there's not a lot in Edmonds. But a lot of people start moving into Edmonds now this day. But also Bothell area, more and more, Asian are moving into Bothell area because all the high tech in Woodinville, Bellevue, Redmond.
What ethnic backgrounds are the different Asian communities that you're working with? Like, which places are there the most people from?
Now mainly we work with the Chinese and the Vietnamese, and there are more and more Indian groups are coming in. Yeah, for those who are well established, they live in Makutil, but more and more moving into Bothell area. So right now we focus on Chinese, Vietnamese, and the Indian as well.
So it sounds like a lot of the people are moving here for tech careers, but there's still a need for services of the cultural or language pieces. Do you work primarily with children or families or elderly people, or is there kind of a mix of ages?
Well, right now our number one priority is with the elder, because elder is the one that really somewhat they struggle. Without the proper language or something, it's hard for them to communicate with their kid or their grandchildren. See, most of the grandchildren are born here, and some of them don't speak their native language, and they speak English. The grandparents sometimes have to communicate just from the language. So there is a gap. So we are trying to help them bridge the gap. Our tagline is, building bridges and breaking barriers. So I think it's very important, communication.
What kinds of things, what kinds of issues or concerns are you hearing from the different Asian American groups these days, especially for the immigrants who are coming? What kinds of, yeah, issues are they facing today?
I would say, of course, language is the main thing. Uh, Secondly, I would say is well, for those who are like working age, not retired, I would say employment as well, because it's, as you know, it's harder to get jobs, get a good job these days. A lot of the work are remotely or maybe online. So I, coming from an Asian background perspective, we like more like a hand-on thing. We like to face, working ethic. And I think it's sometimes it's getting harder now to get a job that you really can use your skill or somewhat to your advantage. I would say that is also very important as well.
For you, what are the biggest challenges to do your work right now?
Right now, because for being here in Snohomish County, obviously we don't have enough funding versus King County, so hope that we can get more funding. And then we are also looking for more volunteer that can help our program, help us to serve the community. And so, yes, funding and volunteers are the two main things.
Are there any things recently in your work that have brought you a lot of joy, like stories that have encouraged you, or things that keep you going and doing this work? What has encouraged you as you've been working with these immigrant communities?
Oh, yes, it's very encouraging. After we formed this nonprofit organization in Edmonds, and Edmonds community has been very supportive. I mean, we are talking about, from the Edmonds citizen all the way up to city council or the mayor, the Port of Edmonds and the city of Edmonds is very, very supportive. And then we participate in the 4th of July event, and we have our Lunar New Year's fundraising dinner and our Dragon Boat last August. And the whole community come out and supported us. And it's a lovely, lovely community. And I say it's very encouraging. Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the Dragon Boat Festival and why you choose to do that and what that represents?
Well, Dragon Boat is back in China like thousands of years ago. Now it happened not only in China, but in some of the Southeast Asia countries like Korea, Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, yeah, and some other Asia country as well. So it's a very popular event, and not only it's a cultural event, but bring the community together, and it's all about participation. Yeah, it's about partnership, and it really brings the community. And then we had our Dragon Boat down in the Edmonds Waterfront Center, and again, Edmonds Waterfront Center provide us the best environment right by the beach. And if you are there, I'm sure you know how it turns out, what atmosphere. You look at the drone shot, we have a picture of we have over hundreds of people on the beach, in and out. It was a great event. And we are gonna we're gonna make it yearly. We're gonna have it again this year, 2025, August 1st, Dragon Boat again. And I hope all of you haven't been there, come. You've been there, come again. And we're gonna try to make it bigger, make it more engaged to the community. And looking forward to it.
That's wonderful. So the final question is, what do you love about Edmonds?
I love Edmonds because it has a pier, has a water, and has a movie theater as a kid growing up. Because Shoreline only have a bowling area. And after all, I really enjoy people from Shoreline, where I went to high school with. And of course, I have friends that go to Woodway High School as well. So, between Shoreline and Edmonds, those two cities I love the most of all because people are so friendly. And we are coming as a new immigrant. They welcome us. And, we might have some ups and downs, back in high school day. But those were past. Once they get to know us, we get to know them. Hey, we are one big family. I mean, that's why we call it United States of America. We are united as one big family.
Thank you so much, Robert, and thank you for everything you do in the community. So thank you for taking this time to do this interview.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Can I ask Robert one question?
Sure.
Before the Asia Service Center, between that and you were a high school teacher, you had a career in the travel industry.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, travel industry also helped me to engage with the community as well. So I would bring groups back to Asia, to Vietnam, or to China after China opened up. So they bring the Westerner to Asia, so that they understand our culture. And then, of course, at the same time, we bring some Western culture to the Asia country. So it's kind of like a bridging, the East and the West.
So were most of your clients Westerners, or were they Asians that wanted to go back home and visit their homes?
I would say 60-40. 60% are Asian that want to go back home. 40% are Westerner or people who are born here. For example, my son, or the younger generation who were born here, American born, they've never been to Asia. And here, you can get everything from Toys R Us, now from Costco, where I was growing up, a lot of things we have to handmade. We cannot get it from the store. We don't have that kind of money. And there was no store that you can buy those, so you have to handmade. So we try to bring them back to the old era that everything is like DIY. And whatever you can find, what you can find is what you can get. So, back to the, I don't know how to call it, the old days, yeah. And I think it's very important that they know what was in the past. So you learn from the past and you acknowledge, and then you will grow and you enjoy the present and you will plan for the future. I think it's very important. Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Can I stop?
Yeah.